If you need a dessert quickly, I've got a great pie recipe that's so easy, even my kids can make it. And if you're looking for something that's really customizable to get your kids interested in baking, this is the perfect way to start. So come on in and I'll show you how. Hi friend, come on in. This quick and easy pie comes together with pudding. That's pretty much it. So this is obviously no bake, and because you are just doing an instant pudding, it is super easy for children to help with this. You can use a whisk if you prefer. That does require some elbow grease, or you can use a hand mixer, and that does make it easier for kids. Having kids in the kitchen does require having a little safety talk. You want to have clean hands. You want to make sure hair is tied back. If you have a little apron. Quick tip, Home Depot and Lowe's do little kits for kids, and they have aprons. So go enjoy one of those kit making days, and then you get a free apron out of it. The trick to this is to use less milk than what the pudding calls for. My pudding package says it uses 1 3/4 cup of milk. I'm using 1 2/3. If you use just a little bit less, you get a bit of a thicker set. You also want to obviously use less than you would use for a regular pudding mix. So we're doing like the pie filling part of the mix. So I'm using 1 2/3 cup. I am using 1%. It does have a slightly softer set with 1%. That's another reason to scale back the amount of milk if you use 1%. You're using 3%, you might be okay with the 1 3/4, but I am going to scale it back just for that. So we're going to mix the two together, and at this point, your child helper can jump in and help with the mixing until this is set. So just follow the instructions for how to set it. I think it's 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes on a low speed or medium speed, just to get this to come together. So you just have your helper put it in and help them turn it on slowly. So that is the filling part of it. Now at this point you can add different add-ins. We have some Oreo thins. These are mint. We love mint. This is the appropriate filling for us to add in. The easy way to do this is to grab a sturdy bag. If you have freezer quart bags, that would work as well. So put in you want about a cup of crumbs, maybe a little bit more. So it will depend. I'm using thin cookies, so they'll take more than if you're using thick ones. And this is where a Ziploc bag comes in handy if you want your kids to help, but you just show them to grab the pin on this and just roll with your wrists and just crush the cookies up. So you want them all nicely broken up into smaller chunks. Mix that into your pudding. You just gently fold it in. Obviously, this is something that children can help with as well. They can easily fold this in. Teaches them folding skills. Or you could just have them stir it and mix it in normally. This is not something that is delicate like whipped cream that you require the folding ability, but it is something that is low effort to teach with something that is like stiff like this with pudding. I have a pre-made mint pie crust. This is really easy to make on your own if you really want. I will have instructions down below to do that. You just crush up some extra Oreo cookies with some butter, press it into a pie sheet, and you have a crust. Baking is not actually required for that, but if you bake it, it does make it a little crispier. This will go into the pie crust. This might be the section where you want to hop in and help, depending on how heavy your bowl is. Or you could give them a spoon and they could just scoop it out themselves. And then you can do the final scooping or scraping of the bowl. Flatten that out. And this is where more options are available. You can crush up more cookies, which is what we will do. If you have whipped cream or whipped topping, you may put that on as well. We are going to go for more cookies because that is what we like. So this is the same situation where you put in however many cookies you want for your topping and crush them up and sprinkle them around the top. It does help to put them in as a single layer as possible. And then if they want to decorate it. Options at this point, you can put it in the fridge and allow it to set up, or we like to have ours frozen. It just gives it a slightly different texture, but it tastes really good. If you've got any little bits left in the bag, and you still have your spatula handy, you can go ahead and scrape the bag down and get all that good stuff out of there. Otherwise, you could just also let your kids have at it and scrape it out with their finger and eat the crumbs. That's it. That is like the easiest dessert pie you could possibly have. This is a low entry baking option to have kids help you in the kitchen. In general, it's going to be something that they're going to like. So this is awesome if you are just trying to get your kids interested in helping with cooking, especially if they're picky eaters. Starting off with a dessert might be a really cool way to get them interested in cooking and interested in helping in the kitchen. I put the lid on, in the freezer it goes. I will show you how it turned out once it has completely set up. Here is how the pudding pie turned out. It's really nice. So if you want to put on some whipped topping, that works really well with this. I just don't have it, and we just do without. It does depend, it's personal preference on what you want to put on top of this as a decoration. This is the pie frozen. We prefer ours frozen. It just gives it a slightly firmer texture, but eat it how you like it. There we go. And it is really firm, but you can see inside there are pieces of Oreo in the pudding as well. This comes together really quick, and it is a very easy recipe for anyone to do. I mean, you saw how my helper was able to do most of this recipe on their own. I hope you give this a try. There are lots of different flavor options out there. If you come up with a really good one, let me know down below because I might want to try it out. I hope you enjoy this. Thanks for watching.